What are the four main types of alternative investments? Now, I've always been of strong belief that you got to understand the principles of investing first and then the strategies second to create that real financial independence. So what are those best type of alternative investments, and where can you actually find those four types? That's what we're going to talk about in this video right now. So I just realized I haven't even actually gone into what are these four types of alternative investments. As we've gone through all these videos, we've talked about different things, but there really are four asset classes you should do. And by the way, I'll even mention what are my favorite ones that I love. That's what we'll dig into right now. All right, so understand that there are four asset classes, right? Four general classes. Everybody tells you should be diversified, right? And usually there's some financial advisor coming to you in a nice little suit, and they'll tell you should be diversified by buying a bunch of mutual funds. Here's the problem with that philosophy is that that's just one asset class. That's not the four asset classes. So when you're actually going into mutual funds like financial advisors recommend, in fact, everything a financial advisor recommends is just one asset class, and it's this one. It's paper. It's paper assets. Here's the big problem. You are not diversified if you only have paper assets, but that's the only thing financial advisors sell you. So when they tell you to have a diversified portfolio, they're actually putting you in a very non-diversified portfolio because paper assets are the things that aren't the real tangible object. For example, stocks are paper assets. Bonds are paper assets. Even things like bank notes, if you have bank savings accounts, CDs, even life insurance. When we talk about whole life insurance, that's a paper asset. Those things are great. They are a good part of the portfolio, but you can't make it all of your portfolio because paper assets can also devalue. Even though there could be some guarantees like some life insurance or annuities, maybe some savings accounts, there could be some guarantees. The truth is that most of the paper assets that you buy, like stocks, bonds, even options, we talk about options trading and things like that, all of those things are paper assets. They're like a paper representation of the real thing, right? You're not actually buying into a real company. Even when you have a stock in a company, remember, you just have a tiny, tiny piece of it, not enough to even have real influence of that company. For example, you buy your Apple stock, can you go ahead and call up Tim Cook, the CEO, and say, hey, you know what? I've got an idea for Apple. Do you think Tim Cook gives a crap about what you have to say? Not at all, right? He doesn't give a crap. He doesn't even know who you are because you don't own enough of the company to even have a voice. So if you're that person, you are just a paper investor. You just have a paper asset. Again, there's nothing wrong with having paper assets. What's wrong though is if you have all of your money in paper assets, you are not diversified. In fact, you're probably taking a lot of risk and gambling with your money more than you should be. So that's number one, paper assets. Number two is business. Now, when I mentioned this Tim Cook Apple example, right? People will talk about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's heralded as being the greatest investor of our time right now. By the way, that guy's got a lot of money sitting in paper assets. He's got about 200 billion sitting in cash right now that he's not even doing anything with. He's just building it up, waiting for more opportunities. But when Warren Buffett invests, he does not go and buy the mutual funds for one, and two, he doesn't just buy paper assets like simple stocks. No, that's not what Warren Buffett does. Warren Buffett buys businesses. He buys a controlling interest in the business. He may or may not buy the majority shares to where he controls all of it, but he'll make sure that he buys a significant portion of that business to where he's put on the board of directors, where they have to consult him about certain things. So he has a voice. He'll even bring in his whole team to ensure that he doesn't lose money on his investment. He'll want those people to go in and make sure that things are working well. Like I said, it's not like he owns all of it. He owns a lot of Coca-Cola. He has things in like Costco. He has American Express, right? But he doesn't invest in the stocks. He invests in the company. He is a business investor. This is no different than on a smaller scale if you went and bought into a share of a certain business. Maybe you buy into a car wash business. Maybe you got 3 other partners. Great, but you still have a say in the matter, don't you? You may not be the controlling partner, unless you own over 50%, but you still have a say in what goes on. You have a little bit more control and safety. That's exactly what Warren Buffett does. So when I talk about business as being an asset class, it could be you starting and running your own business, but it might be you investing in somebody else's business. It could be you buying into a franchise. You could be 100% owner in that franchise, but then you've got systems in place where you don't have to be the one running the business. You could be the one that hires the managers and then they start to run the business for you. So there's a lot of ways to invest in business in a variety of forms, but do not for 1 second believe that you're actually a stock and paper investor. No, business owners own businesses and they have a lot more control. And they can make a lot more money as a result too, because they not only make money from the profits and the cash flow, but then when there is a sale of that business, they make a lot more money on the sale too. The third one is commodities. What are commodities? Well, things like gold, silver, oil, even different foods like corn, if you ever watched Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, they were trading commodities, right? They were even like running up the price and creating all kinds of hype around it, right? Those are commodities. It's things that have a tangible value, but they usually have a price associated to it. Even natural gas, right, versus oil. Those all have their own values. Those are commodities. Now, when I talk about this, I don't mean buying into the paper version of it, right? There's the paper versions. People buy like, oh, I bought the mutual fund that's all based on oil or oil companies. No, don't do that. It's not based on the index. You are literally buying something that actually has the tangible object, right? So when I invest, personally, I actually invest in mineral rights. So we own land, so there's kind of a real estate aspect, but we also have drilling happening on that land. And when the drilling comes out and they sell it, we get paid royalties off that money. Whether it's natural gas, whether it's oil, we get paid off of everything taken out of the earth that way. That's a real commodity, a real asset that we have. Also, owning physical, tangible gold and silver is a real asset. That's a commodity. So I actually own real gold and real silver, like the bullion, for example. I don't have money sitting in like gold stock or gold ETF, exchange traded fund. Those kind of things. I don't buy those things because those can go up or down day after day, and they don't always follow the price of gold or silver. So I like to buy the real tangible thing because, let's be honest, if all of a sudden the world would go to crazy Armageddon today, right? No one gives a crap about your gold stock. In fact, they probably can't even access it. But I've got real tangible gold. I could actually use that. I could actually use it, especially if the dollar collapsed, I have real gold. So if I want to be more diversified, I actually buy into commodities instead of just having the paper money that so many people rely on today. And then the last one, which is also one of my favorites, although business is one of my favorites because obviously I have a business too and I love business. The next one I love is real estate. Real estate is actually, again, owning the real property. Do not believe that if you have what's called a REIT, R-E-I-T, don't believe that if you have a REIT, a real estate investment trust, that you have real estate. That's not it. So many times I've had people, even some of you guys commenting on our channel saying, well, I own REITs, so I have real estate. No, you don't. That's not real estate. That's based on, again, price fluctuations. Remember this, if you have indexes or mutual funds, things like that might be based on those things, but they're not the real thing, prices can fluctuate just because people buy and sell them more. So for example, if somebody has a lot of money in that specific REIT that you bought into, and then they decided to sell out their interest, your price goes down. Even if the real estate's okay, your value of that goes down because they sold off so many shares, the price drops. That's a big risk. You do not want to do that. So I like to own, again, real, tangible real estate. That's why when I have a business interest, I have business interests that even have real estate inside of it. For example, I have a business interest where we buy and sell raw land. I actually own the raw land, and we then go and sell it to other people. It could be a consumer, could be developers, could be whoever. We still technically are on title like the bank is when you have a mortgage on it, but once they pay off, but it's ours until they pay off the loan. If they don't pay off the loan, they don't make payments to us, we foreclose on them, the property is ours. It's real tangible assets that's ours. I also own properties in different parts of the country. Those properties are mine. I get to call the shots. It's not like there's some other fund manager involved. I actually get to call the shots about what's going on. Sure, I have a property manager and they're doing all the hard work for me, but I actually own the property. If I want to sell it, I can sell it. If I want to rent it, I can rent it. If I don't want to rent it, I can not rent it. I can do all of those things. I like to also invest in different aspects as well. Like I can have ownership and interest in apartments, self-storage units. I can have ownership interest in a variety of things. I already mentioned like oil and gas companies that actually own the land that then we do the drilling to then earn the returns off of the drilling, right? That land still has value too. So I like to own real tangible property. That's my personal preference. So when I do my own allocation, right? When you're trying to figure out what to put it, I have my money in all four of these categories. But I'll tell you, I have most of my assets, I would say, more tied up in business and real estate. Those are my two favorite. By the way, even some of the gurus out there that tell you to go and throw your money in mutual funds, people like Dave Ramsey, guess where he has all of his net worth tied up in? Business and real estate. Stocks and mutual funds is like this much of his total net worth. Of the couple $100 million plus net worth he has, almost all of it is business and real estate. He has some paper assets. Yes, I've got savings accounts. Yes, I've got whole life insurance and infinite banking that I do with that too. I use these all in combination together to help diversify myself so that if one thing goes wrong, I'm not at high risk. So those are four asset classes. Remember, it's paper, commodities, business, and real estate. Those are the four you have. Now, however you decide to use it is up to you. What I'd like to know from you is comment below. I would love to hear what kind of asset classes are you invested in? Is it paper? Is it business? Is it commodities? Is it real estate? Is it a combination of the two? Is it just one? Comment below. I'd love to hear where do you have your money, and let's have a conversation together.